What's on, minifans? This time we're going to be making some fences or railings. I wanted something simple which looks cool, and this is what I came up with. Nice thing about these is that once you've made the base railing, you can add other things to it. For example, corrugated paper, chains and cloth, so you can make them all look quite different. As always, if you like anything in my videos, please like, subscribe and leave a comment. Now, YouTube seems to have forgotten me at the moment, so if you ring that bell icon, you'll never miss one of my videos and you'll really help me out. Anyway, down in the description I've got some Amazon links to my most used items. But enough of that, let's get on to building. The materials I use in this project are 2mm chipboard, cocktail sticks, corrugated paper, this fine chain, and a dried out wet wipe, and then obviously glue as well. And then the tools I use are a craft knife, pin vise, wire cutters, and a sanding stick. To start off with, I've marked out some measurements on the chipboard, and it's 10 rectangles in a row, and they're 2 centimeters high, 1 centimeter wide, so it's one big rectangle. And then I've measured up an extra 1 centimeter, and I've come in from the side by half a centimeter, and then done 1 centimeter increments again. So then those lines join up with the top of the rectangles, so we have this angled piece at the top. And then I go ahead and cut all these out with the craft knife. Next up, we're going to drill some holes into these chipboard pieces we've made for the cocktail sticks to go through. Now what I do is I just whack it down on my cutting mat and use the grid on there to do measurements. And I do this by eye. I pretty much go down half a centimeter from the top, trying to keep it as central as possible, drill in, then a centimeter down, drill in, and then another one at the bottom, half a centimeter up, drill in. And then those drill holes, they're a bit messy, so I use the sanding stick to, scuff away all the dodgy bits. Let's prepare the cocktail sticks, because I want them to be 5 centimeters wide. So I just whack a cocktail stick down on my cutting mat, and then using snips, just snip it off so, it hits 5 centimeters. And then I get some baking paper, put the chipboard side panel down flat on that, whack in the cocktail stick and super glue it in. And then I do this, for each of the holes, and then glue the other side on the same way, just keeping it flush with the board. And then any excess cocktail stick poking out the side, I try and trim it with wire cutters, and then I use a file as well to sort of get it as smooth as possible. That's the base railings done now. Now, for a few of them I want to add some extra details, so we'll start with corrugated paper. I've just got some sort of scrappy sections which I cover in PVA glue and whack on. The next one I actually did off camera, so I just grabbed that fine chain, wrapped it around the railings, and then super glued it all over so it doesn't move around. Onto the wet wipe. So I've torn up the dried wet wipe. I initially started using scissors, but it looks too neat, so it's better just tearing it. And then you soak that in watered down PVA and drape it around so it looks like some kind of old manky cloth. And then I sort of move it around and try and get it into some nice folds, and then let it dry, which takes ages. For the final one, I just want to do it a bit damaged, so I hack up the top railing with my wire cutters. Initially I was going to glue the sort of cut out piece at the bottom, but I decided not to in the end. And I just sort of break it down and then super glue those broken bits. build is complete, what I've done off camera is Mod Podge any like card bits, and then primed black and base coated burnt umber. And then what I've done, I've actually blue tacked them to coffee stirrers, but they kept falling off, so that's the only time you'll see those coffee stirrers. But I start off with a good old dry brush of silver. For the chipboard side pieces, I'm doing these different colours. I'll keep the railings all silver, and I use that scratchy method of painting, so almost like stippling on. So some I do light blue, dark blue, red, and then a couple I do black, one just completely black. For one of the black ones, that of course is going to be hazard stripes, so I've marked it off with masking tape off camera, and then I come in with a sponge and white paint and just cover those areas. After that white bit's dried, I come in and sponge on a flesh tone, and this makes the eventual yellow a lot warmer. And finally I come in with yellow and just sponge that over the top of those flesh tone bits. The most satisfying bit, if it works, peeling that masking tape off, and yes, no leaking underneath, beautiful. And then after that I paint those chains with my only gold paint, which is very, very bright, but that's fine. Washing time. I use my homemade black wash. There's a video tutorial on how I made that in the description below. So I just douse all the coloured bits with this, and then using a tissue paper dab some off. After that black wash has dried, I come in with burnt umber and my sponge on a stick, and sponge on where I want rust on the metal bits, and then some sort of dirty or marks on some of the coloured bits. After that burnt umber is dried, I do the same thing but with orange and sponge that onto the rusty bits. And that is the project done. Here's a photo of the finished railings in use on one of my old projects. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall see you in the next one. Cheers for now.